Hello, and welcome to another DLC episode of the Extremely Casual Gamers podcast with Ali, Chris, and Guy. This is a casual gaming podcast for the everyday gamer. And on today's DLC, it's a very special one because we have a guest. We have Rob Davis here. You are the campaign director at Suckerpunch. Is that correct? Hello.
G'day. Yes,
and you are in charge of the storyline missions in Ghosts of Yotei. Is that correct?
yeah, we do all the missions in the game, all the open world gameplay, and a bunch of the fights and encounters. So,
wow.
Yeah, mostly missions.
So you got a decent set of fingerprints across the game that's just launched at the moment.
I am sometimes referred to as the person who's playing the game every day. On a big couch with a TV and seeing what the player experience is like.
Yeah, right, because that's what Guy does. Basically every day at the moment. Guy, you're obsessed with the game. Just to give you a little bit of a heads up of how we're operating, Rob. Guy, huge fan of Ghost of Yotei. Also a huge fan of Tsushima. Played it 3 times.
3 times, platinumed it.
Yeah. So, and then you've got me, who platinumed Tsushima as well. I've played it twice. However, I haven't started playing Yotei yet because I have this thing where I can't start a game until I've finished another one.
What are you playing right now?
Death Stranding 2.
There you go.
And my brain is all...
son.
It's all mushy after that. And then you've got Ellie, who gets motion sickness and doesn't like violence.
Yeah, so I haven't played either game. But I'm here for the chat, and I'm really interested to hear how it was all done.
Yeah. And so one thing I wanted to know with moving from, what Sucker Punch was doing prior and like even going way back to some of the games that were around back in the day, and you guys have good ways of nodding to those games. In game too. Like I remember in Ghost of Tsushima you could find, was it a headband and things like that were nods to prior games?
There was I believe there was different armor sets and colors for different PlayStation exclusives. There was like a Kratos one, there was a Horizon one, and then I can't remember the other one as well, but there was little nods to other PlayStation exclusives.
But going from what you guys were doing to then deciding to start a brand new franchise, which is going to be like A, open world, B, deeply historical, like first of all, even starting to launch into that process at the beginning of Tsushima, how much of an undertaking was that? Because that seems like the biggest undertaking in gaming.
Oh yeah, I mean the stories are pretty legendary of how Tsushima came about. I was on God of War at the time, so I've mostly been hearing it secondhand. And I had to do a rapid education on Japanese films and Japanese history. Yeah. I know quite a bit about Japan, but not like the team from Tsushima. I mean, they're like, very, very deep knowledge experts at this point, and we have all these cultural advisors who are fabulous, who we work with all the time. But the big thing for this game was, can we follow up Tsushima?
And is that like, in my head I go, cool, so you've set the sort of baseline with Tsushima, you know what it is now. Following up, surely that's a bit easier, or is that just something so naive and ignorant?
Piece of cake, nothing.
No pressure.
No pressure, whatever.
No. Well, is there more pressure, right? Because you've set the standard.
I think so. I mean, it's different kind of pressure.
Yeah.
Right. Once you have all these really wonderful fans, and Ghost is, it's visceral, it's samurai cinema, but it's also very heartfelt in different ways as well. And all 3 of those things, you're trying to maybe make it a little bit fresh but familiar at the same time.
That's the thing, is that from what I've seen, I'm about 8 or 9 hours into the game, and you've managed to. If you've played Ghost of Tsushima, when you can just pick this game up and you just roll straight into it. So it's very familiar in that sense. But then there was also that worry of, with a lot of sequels as well, it's like, is this any different to the point where it's just like a DLC of Ghost of Tsushima? But there is a lot of freshness to it. And I know one of them, when you mentioned last night at the event, was the removal of the stances, like the water stance and stuff from Ghost of Tsushima. And you've changed it to different weapons as well. And you said that was quite a difficult choice. But as the feedback that you've received from the game so far, are you happy with the choice that you made? Because from what I've seen, and from my own personal experience, I prefer the different types of weapons. So I feel like you've nailed it.
I'm looking around your space and I see these cool figurines, like Ellie and different characters. And it's kind of what it's all about. Can we bring this character to life? Almost like a puppet or a character that you're really playing as. So for Jin, the stances made so much sense because he was a formally trained samurai. But Atsu, she is determined and a little bit reckless sometimes and scrappy. So when we converted it over to the weapons, it suddenly felt like she was almost had a bit more lone wolf and cub energy or Lady Snowblood energy behind her. And then we were able to relax a little bit and trust ourselves because R2 had a lot of personality by seeing the weapons. But of course, in this game, player creativity in the combat is such a huge part of it that it seems like everyone's having different favorites of the weapons, which is such a huge compliment to our combat team.
Yeah.
And also, like, Jin, once again, I played the game a lot, loved it, but he's not exactly the most out there character, right? Because he's a samurai and he has his honor bound and there's stuff he can't do. And, with Atsu, were you guys able to have a lot more fun in terms of, what you can get away with? And
R2 is not honor bound.
Yeah, because honor's boring. Like, I'm really honorable, but Guy's not. No. And he has a lot of fun, So did that free you guys up quite a lot?
This is your own R2 and Jin situation.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And Ellie's a wolf.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that freed you guys up a bit more?
The character of a wandering mercenary is pretty storied in all the classic samurai films, whether it's Yojimbo, whether it's Ogami Ito, and even in mangas, or even you can go a little further and say Rurouni Kenshin is like another example. Atsu from the jump was always going to be a little bit of a classic bounty hunter character, determined, a little bit charming, gets herself out of pickles, steely at moments, and not afraid to be pretty brutal at moments as well. And as the game evolved, I think we realized, Ghost is very, very heartwarming in moments, and perhaps we need to bring a little bit of that back. And when Erika Ishii entered the booth and started recording the voice of Atsu, she became really dynamic and charming as Atsu, and we started leaning into those elements even a little bit more. When you play through the opening chapters of the game, you'll be in an area called the Yotei grasslands. And about a year out from shipping the game, I think the penny dropped where we had seen Atsu as a character really come to life in the motion capture, in the combat animations, in the big story missions we did. And we went back to those early areas in the game, development-wise, realizing this is not just a part of Hokkaido. This is the area where she grew up. And we started adding more memories to that area. We added an Ainu archery mini chapter. We started rewriting some lore and some storytelling to tie it all back into Atsu. And you don't just see her anymore as a wandering mercenary out for vengeance. You start to see her as a human.
Yeah.
And because how important is it, right? Because you mentioned you worked on God of War, and Kratos is like this incredibly violent killing machine, especially on the original games, whereas now the two modern iterations, there's a lot more like charm and a bit more heart and stuff. How important is it to have the character who can do these brutal things, but also like the person playing has to really like the character too? It's a hard thing to strike.
It is a hard thing to strike. Yeah. I'd like to think that one of the things all these games does really well is putting the A in adventure. Like, we are known for our action, no doubt. But the stories and the tales that you go on have this big adventure element to them, almost like a classic 80s movie. And when you think about adventure heroes, Indiana Jones, Katniss Everdeen, Daniel LaRusso from Karate Kid, they're real humans. They have flaws. They have personalities. I think we've shifted a little bit over the years away from these pure bombastic action heroes into trying to make characters who are really relatable. And that's what we've tried to do with R2.
I read a review of the game, and the title of it got me pretty good in terms of clickbait, because it was like, I have no interest in playing the storyline of Ghost of Yotei, and I've been playing it for a few hours, so I was like, what do you mean? And what they actually meant was they don't want to go to the main missions because the open worldness of the game and the side missions and just what you come across as you're playing is so dynamic that there's so much to do before you even play down the main storyline. So I'm about 9 hours in, and I'm only on the Ishikawa. I can't remember what it's called, but I'm only 9 hours in, and I'm just playing side mission after side mission, and I don't want to play the main missions. I have no interest. I'm not even at the Oni yet. I've got no interest in going to the rest of the Yotei 6 because I just want to play all of these side missions and stuff as well.
And experience the world more than actually...
Exactly,
right.
Yeah.
And does that, as a person who was in charge of this thing, Guy, is ignoring blatantly the main mission, but also the side missions too. Do you like hearing that? Is that...
Of course.
Yeah.
We have for many years seen lots of different types of players play the Ghost franchise and or the Ghost series, I guess I should say. And I think that's one of the wonderful things about a really great open world game is it teleports you to a space, you know, in a time. We call it the Hokkaido time travel experience sometimes. And we have a few different types of players. I think we call them rabbits, are the people who love the story and want to get through it really fast and see what happens next. They're really motivated by Atsu's Revenge Quest. And then we have what we call like Hokkaido time travel tourists, and they just love to explore the world.
Yeah,
So that must be you guys.
yeah. Time traveler.
Time traveler.
Yeah.
Guy Pearce.
Yeah, oh my God, yes. When you were in the development stage of the game and coming up with the storyline and stuff, obviously with a lot of people love Jin Sakai from Ghost of Tsushima, and then obviously you brought in Atsu with such a different character, very complex, and an amazing addition to the series. When did she come into the conversation? Was the conversation, when you were designed and in charge of coming up with a follow-up, was it at some point continuing Jin's story? Or was it always like, we're done with Jin, let's focus on someone else?
It was always an origin story. We love origin stories.
Yeah.
And we wanted to tell a fresh tale of vengeance. As the story goes, Jason Connell and Nate Fox, they're kind of the godfathers of the Ghost franchise, Ghost series. Nate, he's from a theatrical background himself, and he thinks a lot about the characters and the tone and the personality and the story. And Jason, he's the former art director of so many of these games that we know and love. And so he always is very into the exploration and the world design. And from the very early days, Nate wanted to tell a tale of vengeance, and Jason wanted to send you to the lawless north. And those two things really clicked together from an early day.
You mentioned last night, full disclosure for the audience, we were at a screening last night, so we got to hear a few of your tales firsthand. One of the things you mentioned was that your whole team went to Hokkaido just to have a look and double check that this is where we want to make a game. Was that the first place you went to? Or did you go, oh, maybe we should go down south and just have a look down there? You know what I mean? Or was it just straight to Hokkaido? Yep, we're doing it here.
That's right. Goes to Paris. Better get in. Take a quick trip to Ghost to Brazil. Just to make sure. Watch some soccer games.
Ghost of Hawaii. You know what I mean? Go. Or was it straight to Hawaii, to Hokkaido, and you were like, this place is awesome. We have to do it here.
From the way I remember it, it was the desire to tell the sort of cowboy-like nature of Hokkaido.
So that was always like, we're keen to do that. We're going to go there and just double check and see and get a good understanding of.
When we went to Japan, there was about 20 of us that went in 2 different trips, and our producer Ryuhei, who worked on Ghost of Tsushima as well, he toured us to places that were really not just iconic to Hokkaido, but special to him as well. And there's a certain je ne sais quoi, or, X factor to experiences in life that a photo doesn't really do them justice.
Totally.
When you can see the scale of something like Mount Yotei, or when you can travel a distance to somewhere on foot and see the scale and the spectacle, when the light casts through things in a way that almost feels like you're in a Weta Workshop movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't just make you want to take photographs of it. It makes you feel the emotions personally. And then through the development of the game, you're like, I know that feeling was real. How do we bring that feeling to life? Even if it's a challenge to design, or even if it's an unexpected design choice. So in the game, you'll see these frontier areas, which on paper might be a quirky design choice. They are extremely large and open, and at a screenshot they look somewhat barren, like a cowboy movie. So we've had to create these interesting POIs that drive curiosity within them, or even have little areas that you duck into. So when you look at it from a postcard perspective, it looks like the real Hokkaido. But then when you go over and investigate it, there's more to it than meets the eye.
Cool.
That's cool. Yeah. And that's the other thing as well with Ghost of Tsushima. It was a visually stunning game, and that was out in 2020. I remember playing it. My wife would just love watching me play it purely for the for the visuals of it. It was so beautiful. And then I'd start cutting people up and she'd lose interest because that's not her thing. But a lot of people loved the visual aspects of Ghost of Tsushima. So how hard was it to level up with Ghost of Yotei? Because you've achieved it because it is a beautiful game. But that, I imagine, would have added a lot of pressure to you guys when you were making the game.
Every time I work on a game, I show it to my husband, who knows nothing about games, before I go and work on it. And I showed him Ghost of Tsushima, and he's like, well, I mean, you have to work on this one.
Yeah, right. That's cool.
And so he's like my agent. He picks all the games. I'm like, he either looks at it and gives it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. But it was a huge undertaking. When you go to Hokkaido, it's very seasonal. Mm-hmm. And I think that was such a cool part of this game because I won't spoil anything, but the different biomes of the games are almost like different chapters in themselves. I mean, they are different chapters of the game. And if you get really into it, you start to understand the visual language of each independent space as well, like how secrets on a cliffside are different from secrets in the snow, different from discoverability and exploration on rolling fields. So it's actually quite a fun thing to work out. How do you inspire someone to look up in some places, look down, drive curiosity? Okay, this one has a smokestack. Well, that one has more of like a ninja symbol on it. You know, what's that about?
That's cool.
They're all curiosities, right?
Yeah.
With open world games, you've always got your main quest, your main storyline that you can follow. You've then got sort of side quests with a bit more meat on them. From everything I've heard and read, and admittedly what I've watched a lot about this game, and that's why I'm trying to get through Death Stranding so I can play it. My brain won't let me just stop. But one of the things I've heard a lot about, which must be, a lot of it must be from your job as well, is you've made side quests and little things like they've gone from traditionally in open world games, it's like, help, bandits attacked me. Can you get my stuff back? And then and it's like, thank you, here's some gold or something. And it sounds like you've added a lot more complexity to just those smaller things, which has made people like Guy not go and do the main quest because there's too much good stuff.
Because also with side quests, it's all very easy to try and to figure out what's going to happen. Like you just said, it's very cookie cutter. Yeah. What I've noticed with Ghost of Yotei is that I'll do a side mission and in my head I'll be like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then he's going to do that, and then it doesn't happen. Oh shit! So that keeps it very fresh as well. Like it doesn't go down the path that you would expect it to.
Yeah. Was that a goal of you guys to make sure that everything you do is more immersive and engaging?
Absolutely. Yeah, super handcrafted this time. We, as the design team, we partnered really, really closely with the narrative and the art teams this time and the feature teams. Okay. So we're always trying to work out, okay, what is the feature we're creating? How can we highlight it in an interesting way that feels like its own unique little tale? And some of the missions in the game, they almost feel like mini mythic missions this time. We don't call them that, but they have a bit of that tone and personality to them. But yeah, you're 100% right. We sort of had a chip on our shoulder to make everything handcrafted and hand-touched this time.
Yeah,
awesome.
Well, that's good because
motivator,
and as someone that has played video games for 20 years, I'm so sick of opening your map, and as you mentioned last night, there's question marks everywhere. There's little icons everywhere, and it's like, cool, here's my to-do list of stuff I have to go and do, and I know that if I do them, what I'll get in return is kind of good. As I say, here's some gold, whatever it might be. But I think a lot of games recently, and maybe it's because of places like, From Software, where they've gone, actually, the players aren't idiots. They don't need to be constantly led by the hand and told where to go. I think we can trust their curiosity more to go and explore. It sounds like you guys have done a lot, and once again, I've only played Tsushima, but I'm excited. But it sounds like you guys have really gone down the route of players aren't dumb. They will go and look and find out for themselves.
Yeah, trust the player.
Yeah, because for a long time, they treated, gaming companies have treated players like complete idiots. And some of us are, but, it's quite nice to get away from that.
Yeah.
We had an image of the game that loads up every time you see it, and it said the word Wanderer on it. So it wouldn't even say Ghost of Yotei when you loaded up the game. It would say Wanderer. And that was, I think, the Jedi mind trick of Jason Cannell to make you think every time you load up this game every day to do some work on it, you have to see the word Wanderer before you even get going. And I thought that was a pretty cool trick.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. And because rewarding the player for like their curiosity too. You know, like
100%.
You ran over there to see if there was anything over there, and 90% of the time there isn't, but 10% of the time there might be, and that's enough to get someone combing the entire map.
We had an overarching philosophy that we want to honor the exploration of the player and drive curiosity, mystery, discoverability. A lot of our engine, you can do things pretty quickly in it. So huge shout out to our tech team who's been building the Ghost engine.
The
for a
fast
while.
travel is
Fast travel's
insane.
fantastic. I'd forgotten because
yeah.
I've been playing the game for so long. I saw people
Yeah.
commenting about it, and I realized, like, oh, I've been taking this for granted for 2 years.
And it loads up so quickly as well. Like I turn on my PlayStation, just as soon as I click on Ghosts of Yotei, it'll the main image, and then it's just back to where I was. There's no like new game,
Amazing.
saved game. It's just you're just right in it.
The Suckerpunch engineers are among some of the best in the world, and they take so much pride in thinking about what the player values. There's all kinds of features we could do or not do that might be important, but there's always this overarching question of what does the player care about? What is valuable?
Yeah.
This is a very big game, so what is meaningful to our audience?
One thing that took me by surprise with this game, and I've looked online, a lot of people are of agreement as well, is the little mini game, Zeni Hakachi.
Zeni Hajiki.
Zeni Hajiki, which is a game that I've never heard of, but it gets introduced into the storyline, and it's part of the gambling den, and you gamble and stuff, and it's you flicking coins, and they've got to hit coins, and I'd never heard of the game, but once you learn the rules, I'm addicted to this little mini game. It is so cool. And I saw on Reddit being like, I've come to accept that Ghost of Yotei is Zeni Hajiki with some swordplay. Like, it's such a cool little game. Were you expecting that kind of feedback? Were you expecting that part of the game to be like, oh yeah, people are going to love this? Or is it just kind of like, it's something fun for people to do?
Zeni Hajiki has been a Suckerpunch favorite for a while, and I'm glad you love it.
It's so cool.
It's
I
been
was
a
looking
crowd
at
favorite
kits
for a-
online. I was like, I want to buy this game because I want to play. It's a fun game to play with like kids and stuff. So
What, in the gambling den?
no, I'm imagining me and my wife, and my kids playing it at the kitchen table. Like, should we fire up the coins?
Yeah, right.
Do some flicking coins.
We have all kinds of data we can pull from the game, like how many deaths our playtesters have. I don't know. This is more for when we playtest the game.
Yeah.
And now I'm curious to know how much of our development time has been spent with us all playing Zeni Hajiki in the background.
If I was to make a suggestion, is like in a patch is to be able to like have your own kit, like your own coins that have different skins on them, because you can change the skins and like the colors of your bows and your sword kits and stuff like that. Having your own special coins that you use, that'd be awesome.
Maybe some black ones with a white feather on them, perhaps.
Yeah, harder. Or like some like the yellow ones, like the ginkgo tree. So yeah, that was a game that I wasn't expecting it, because I don't normally mini games and games is a thing that's been done before, but this is the first one where like I'm really enjoying this.
Mini games and games are getting like I was obsessed with Gwent.
Yeah.
After The Witcher, I remember Liar's Dice and the original Red Dead Redemption.
That was fun.
Like I love playing
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
So I think like putting this little bonus game inside a big game is like a huge draw card.
Yeah, yeah.
Accidentally getting obsessed with it, you know.
It makes you feel like a real wandering merc. Right?
Totally right.
Well,
You know, in mercenary stories, or like Ronin stories, wanderer stories, they are broke. You know, they are hungry all the time. They are in tattered rags, and they're often rags to riches stories. You know,
Yeah.
like Travis Himmons' Heart of the Ronin, Yojimbo. They maybe have like 15 mon in their pocket, right? When they go around the world in the stories, they're always trying to get a meal. They're always taking a bounty.
Yep.
They're always wandering from gig to gig. So the gambling is kind of a perfect fit
Yeah, because
for
there's a
that,
lot more
because-
weight to it.
Yeah, like I've got to make some cash over here.
Yeah, exactly.
How am I going to get armor? In the movie Ugetsu, there's two samurai who just talk endlessly about what it would be like to own a suit of armor. You know, that's how broke these wanderers are.
Well, what about then? Because in games, open world ones, there's always like an in-game economy, right? And it must be very hard to get that balance right, because you want Atsu to be this wandering mercenary, but if she suddenly gets really rich and could just get all the best gear, you know, that could like ruin that illusion. That must be a very tricky balance to strike.
Yeah, I think with Atsu, the animation direction and her personality helps a lot, because you are going to get super duper powerful
Like
and
kitted out.
creative through the game. But there's a lot of things that you can only get if you do some pretty edge of the world, let's say, type of activities and journeys that you go on. Some of which I am fastidiously watching on TikTok far too much right now.
So are you going on TikTok and seeing little clips of people playing the game and seeing what they're enjoying?
And now I'm learning all the Gen Z lingo as well. Like, people will put on the armor and they'll say, "Yeah, that's my drip," and I'm like,
Nice.
"Hey, what is a drip?"
Is that a good thing? Is that hate?
Do they like it?
Yeah, that must be weird actually, developing a game and then seeing all of the content that comes out. It must be scary too, because you're going, I hope everyone likes it. But have you seen the feedback? It's been overwhelmingly fun and good on
Yeah,
TikTok.
it's fantastic.
That's awesome.
We got really great reviews. I was nervously loading them, of course, like
Yeah.
many other people on the team. And our internet at our place in Australia is not that great, so the reviews loaded up for my mom before they did for me, and I just heard across the room like, "Yes!"
Yes, Mum.
Wait, is Mum playing Ghost of Yotei?
She's super into like all the art and visuals.
Yeah,
she
right.
loves all the Japanese patterns and all the different
Cool.
visual designs. Yeah, she loves all the especially all the artwork or anything with woodblock print type inspirations. She's super into.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. It's
That
got
is
the
cool.
Rob Mum tick.
That's right.
Nice.
That's right.
Is it okay if we just briefly step away from Ghost of Yotei? Because I want to pick your brain about a game that I believe you worked on. So you are based in LA, but you were born in Sydney, but you worked in Brisbane for a
That's
little
right.
bit.
Yeah, true wanderer.
Yeah, Wanderer.
Yeah.
And you worked at Pandemic Studios, and you worked on a game that I absolutely loved, and I haven't heard anybody ever mention before, and I'm trying to find a version of it to buy, to just have here in the studio. Did you work on The Saboteur?
I did. Yeah.
I loved that game.
Oh, that's the game that was in black and white.
So it was
And
an
then-
open world RPG set in Nazi-occupied France.
I remember this.
And in the black and white comes in as areas of the map that you, as the main character,
Like,
Sean Devlin,
You
an
haven't
Irish,
explored yet or something?
you haven't liberated from the Nazis. So
Yes,
whenever
right.
you liberated an area, it became colourful again.
Yeah.
Because the Nazis weren't in there anymore. How involved were you in the Saboteur? Like,
Saboteur was a really long development.
Yeah.
It was 4 years, and I actually moved over to the States to work on Saboteur in Los Angeles.
yeah.
And so I worked on it for about the last 13 or 14 months of it. And I did all the upgrades in the game, all the perks, a lot of the open world gameplay
Yeah.
as well. And I actually made some lifelong friends from that
Aw.
game as well, which is, yeah, there you go.
That's nice.
Because it was the storyline is an Irish guy called Sean Devlin, who was like a former race car driver who then became a resistance fighter in France. But apparently, it was based on a true story.
That's right.
Of a guy
Yes.
from the UK who was
Based
a
on a
race
book.
car driver who became a spy for the Allies.
Really?
Yeah. That's such a badass story.
Well, I'll tell you this much. So when I'd worked at Santa Monica Studios for
Yep.
some years, and God of War did really well for us, and Ragnarok as well, and we were super thankful for that experience. And as an Aussie in America, it was like, maybe more success than you even expect. So about 2021, 2022, the studio head, Brian Fleming, asked me if I'd be interested in meeting with the team of Ghost of Tsushima, which is when my husband looked at the game and was like,
Yeah.
"You're doing this dang thing."
Yeah.
And so I fly up, and the team is so lovely, by the way, up there. They're super healthy and really interested in games. And I thought, like, they would just want to talk about how we made God of War, and they spent the entire time talking about Saboteur.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Because I remember seeing trailers and reviews for it way back in the day.
It's just so funny. Like it's because we've been doing this podcast for 2 years, and I think I've mentioned it once.
Yeah.
But it made such an impact on me at the time. Me and a friend from high school would just play it for hours and hours and hours, and I loved the soundtrack behind it. Yeah, and I just love that I get to talk to somebody who actually made the game. Like, about the game because you made it.
Yeah. One thing with you being at Santa Monica, were you there for that legendary reveal?
Oh, yeah.
What was that like? Because before, just anyone listening, go on YouTube and type in God of War. Was it at E3?
E3 2016.
2016 E3 God of War announcement. Watch that, and it's one of the greatest reveals of anything I have ever seen. Nothing was leaked leading into it, and it's like spine. You're watching a video game trailer, for Christ's sake, or
Yeah.
and it's like spine tingling stuff. So you were in the room for that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And what was it like getting that reaction, right? Because it's like it's a video game, and people reacting like it was just the best thing that has ever happened.
I think we all miss E3, don't we?
Yeah, 100% we
E3
do.
was so good.
E3,
Yeah.
It was a good time. I
Yeah.
was sat next to Vincent Napoli, who is Mr. Throwable Axe.
Oh,
he
wow.
designed the Throwable Axe for God of War.
I love that.
And it was super special, and we were all rooting for Corey because he was playing it live. It was genuine. We rehearsed it for weeks, playing through it with him, tuning the combat with him. It was not pre-recorded, and he was doing the most Sony presentation he could. He's like, I wanted an orchestra. I want this to be a big deal, and I am going to play it live. And we sat with him, myself, Andrew Crucifidis, Vincent, and we tuned everything with him and dialed it all in. And then he played it live, up in the booth.
That's a lot of pressure. Like,
it's a huge amount of pressure.
Like, I would never want to do streaming because I feel like if I had like 4 or 5 people watching me play Fortnite or something, I'd be like, oh no. But if you've got thousands of people watching you play a launch.
And you should go jump on YouTube and check out, there's a full doco about the remake of God of War and features like Corey playing the game live and stuff. Bloody interesting stuff. I think I've watched it twice now.
And then on this game, we went back to the original Tsushima E3 demo to remind ourselves just how cinematic the game can be. For a minute there, you start putting more UI in the game, or you start worrying that the player isn't going to discover everything. And then, of course, you have to remind yourself, trust the player. They know what they're doing. Yeah. They'll do it. They'll be inspired. We need to inspire them, not lead them quite so much. So we actually spent a couple of days just loading up the original Tsushima E3 demos again and reminding ourselves this is why people love this. It's cinematic, it's honest, it's human, and if we go too far with the guidance on the player, it's going to lose that feeling. I mean, look at that demo. We need to keep bringing those moments to life. So the Tsushima one as well ended up being really, really memorable and important for us to go back and remind ourselves just what we were making.
One last question from me, just on the state of Ghost of Yotei at launch. Every review I've watched is like, yeah, this is great. Digital Foundry, who are like, they go over everything with a fine-tooth comb. They're like, this game looks great, sounds great, performs great, 60 frames per second. Like, there was no issues with it. How hard is it to release a game in a top standard like you guys did? And like, is it so hard that we should like maybe have sympathy for all these companies that keep releasing games before they're ready? Like, is that a hard thing to do? And well done.
Thank you so much. All credit to our team. The biggest compliment I can give our technology team is from our players. When you see so many people playing the game on Lethal, on Twitch, and on TikTok right now, if you don't have a solid frame rate and you don't have a great combat system, they know where to hide, right? Yeah. And so seeing people play on Lethal and having legions of fans watching them fight, I won't spoil anything for you, but there's some pretty spicy battles in the game. They can rely on the game, and they know that the gameplay is solid, top to bottom. And if they miss a parry, that our game is genuine.
Then it's their fault. Not the game's fault.
So it's really, really important.
Yeah. And is it hard to do? Like, should we have more sympathy for these other people, or...
It speaks so much to the type of studio that Suckerpunch is, where people are extremely proud of the product, but also our founders and our studio leadership, they're very big on making sure that people have good workflow, and they're very technical as a studio. We are. And also, a lot of people have been at the studio for a long time. So the engine has evolved over the years since infamous Second Son, and I there's a lot of technology behind making these games, and it requires pretty brilliant minds to keep the game in frame rate and to keep the performance so high, as well as achieving the level of visual fidelity. But a big part of that is also people who've worked together for a long time, knowing how each other works and how the engine evolves over time.
One of the questions, well, the last question that we always ask on our main podcast is, what are we playing this week? And we go around the room, and it's usually Chris is playing Death Stranding, I'm playing Ghost of Yotei, and Ellie's getting motion sickness. So obviously, you were saying last night at the thing, you've played about 400 hours of Ghost of Yotei with playtesting. So obviously that makes sense. But are you a gamer? What are you playing at the moment? Like, what's one of your favorite games to play? Like, if you're unwinding and you don't want to bring your work home, like you're like, you know what, I'm not going to play Ghost of Yotei or Tsushima because that's work. What is a game that you want to fire up?
I love Spider-Man 2.
Oh really?
I love Astro. And I do want to play Death Stranding 2 now. And it's set in Australia.
Yeah, it's set in Australia, and you'll know there's a giant snow-capped mountain in the middle of Australia in the game. It's like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah, I like all kinds of games. But I will say, I think Spider-Man 2 is the most me game I could think of, just because it's almost like action and adventure and traversal and storytelling all together, and I love those types of games.
So you excited about the announcement from Insomniac with Wolverine?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, super good. I mean, I grew up reading all those Logan comics.
Totally.
The film is fantastic.
Yeah.
And I just hope, I don't know what they're doing, but I mean, hopefully they keep going on these like iconic heroes because they're so fun to play as.
Yeah.
You know, when you were a kid, you'd read the comics and think to yourself, oh, what if I could even play that? And then you know, you'd have a Super Nintendo and you could kind of move the character you know, in a pretty rudimentary way. And now you can fully explore the worlds. You can run around, I don't know, Professor X's mansion or whatever, which is pretty cool fantasy, you know, or build it in The Sims.
Yeah, exactly.
But before we do wrap up, we will wrap things up now because we've had you for far too long, but it's been far too interesting. We walked in and you said, oh, The Sims, love The Sims. Can you just tell us some of your favourite games from back when you were younger, you know, some of those iconic games? Because we still have ours, like mine is the original Pokemon's on Game Boy, Age of Empires 2, The Sims, things like that. Do you have games like that just hold a special place?
You know, I love the games that get everyday folks into games. You know, if you're not a super deep gamer, so I'm like, I loved SingStar. It was such an iconic title.
Yes, it was. I want it back. Can you develop it, please?
The K-pop Demon Hunter SingStar.
Oh my god.
That would be amazing.
There we go.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
I've had
with you.
Golden stuck in my head like for a week now.
Yeah.
And I always loved all those titles that welcome people into the experience.
Yeah.
Amen to that. Hey, thank you so much for your time, Rob.
Pleasure.
It's been so lovely to chat to you. Before you go, do you want to? I'm just going to scroll like this. We've got a giveaway of Ghosts of Yotei for a person and a friend. If you just like scroll and then put your finger down, you're going to pick the winner. All right, we've got the winner. It is this one here. That one there.
Yep.
PC Atoa and your friend Nandi, you have won the Ghosts of Yotei copy code. Sorry. Thank you so much, Rob, for your time and for picking that winner. And all the best with whatever games you're going to be developing in the future.
Next, I'm trying to get on Australian Survivor. That is my this whole PR tour is a ruse for me to get on Australian Survivor. So
Yes.
My wife's trying to make me watch that at the moment. Apparently the latest season's awesome.
yeah.
Maybe
I've heard it's amazing.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
my parents watch it. Yeah.
All jokes aside, we have Legends mode coming out next year.
nice.
For Ghost of Yotei as well. So check
cool.
that out.
That's wicked.
Oh, thank you.
Free for all
free,
players.
like with sushi.
Yeah,
there we go.
free.com.
How good, man.
Can't beat that.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. And if you're listening and you want to play the game, you can get it now. Ghost of Yotei on PlayStation. Thank you so much, Rob. You enjoy the rest of your day. And we'll see you on Thursday for another ep. Bye.
Bye.